I'm Sydney. And I'm Talia. Pull up a chair. You're listening to The Desk. All right. That was cute.
Anyway, hi guys.
No.
This is our first episode of The Desk
It
with me, Sydney, and Talia, who's chosen silence right now, and our gorgeous guest, Kai.
Gorgeous. Oh, thank you.
Very handsome.
Made my day.
Our gorgeous guest, Kai. He's our first one. How does that make you feel? That we're our first guest on our
I am. This is the best day of my life. I've never been happier.
Exactly.
Yes.
We do
Exactly.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Never would have made it without you.
I kind of lost it.
I'm never going to forget this.
No, you really shouldn't. Make sure you hang this up. Like, we're gonna get a print of this specific episode because it's
Do you wanna say hi even though it's just gonna be audio?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to when it turn out.
It's a wave to the camera.
Is that, wait, it's the audio or video?
It's audio.
We're gonna upload it as an audio.
Oh, yeah.
But right now it's just audio and video.
Get a camera as well.
We're not gonna film it.
Get a camera. Some people like seeing shit. I love seeing shit.
I know you know, honey. It's okay.
Some shit she's.
She doesn't want to be seen.
You want to be seen? You?
That's supposed to mean, huh? Guy, whoa, guy.
Say.
Oh, fine. That's not what I meant. That's
what it sounded like.
So this is why I don't compliment people. It doesn't come out many.
Oh, God. Well, today we have Kai on to talk about, in layman's terms, politics. In fancy terms, sustainable development goal. 16, the number 16. I almost said 17.
Goal 16.
Yeah.
Peace, justice, and strong institutions.
You see how she did her homework? I rocked out. Then it's a Friday. Can I say?
TGIF, you know?
Everyone's favorite topic, politics. Oh, we'll do that.
Exactly. But justice, peace, strong institutions.
The exact opposite of the world right now.
No, honestly,
Yeah.
odds.
Right.
So yeah.
Anyway, the people in your country voted for that, so.
Security.
You guys are so lucky you're not on camera right now because you'd see me breaking the fourth wall.
God.
But looking at these guys, like, cut it out. We're going to get banned. And that's what I'm
Hey, can you pause it real quick? Kai, stop me.
And you have to tell me, God.
I just wanted my drink to be a little bit cooler. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It was a little warm.
That's why.
Okay,
Right.
let's get into it, shall we?
Of course.
So, Kai, how are you? Right.
I just had like 2 cups of coffee, and I don't think it's working.
Oh,
It's not working. Someone lied to me. That's not real coffee. It is not working.
Yeah.
I didn't even like coffee.
right. So what happens to your energy drink?
Because, well, my resting heart rate is apparently too high according to my GP, so I need to like lay off of it so it doesn't kill me. But how am I supposed to function?
Caffeinated tea. Or
Caffeinated tea. You know, I never thought about that. I'm going to take that idea.
Okay.
I never thought about it. I'm not giving her credit when I'm taking it. That's actually good. Because I love tea.
you heard it here first.
So let's talk about you first, and then we'll get into the topic. Can you tell us what's your degree?
I study neurotechnology at Imperial College London. It is a master's course. I did my undergrad in neuroscience at Middlesex University. Before then, I studied at Pittsburgh. In the US, I did science communication and psychology. And that's about it. Afterwards, if I feel mentally ill enough, I probably do my PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not because I care about industry a lot. So I do plan on going into industry after. But generally, at title speaking, I would just say I'm an academic. My hobbies include skating, falling down, the gym. I used to be president of the Liberal Debate Society that I helped start.
Oh, cool.
But I hate politics, so I stepped down. I hate politics and people at the same time.
Oh, this
Well,
is going to
good
be
thing you're on
a
a
great,
Yeah, that's why
it's
I'm here.
such a great episode.
So I stepped down. And right now I'm just trying to stay alive. It's working.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So, as someone who hates politics,
I hate
yeah,
passionately.
right.
Can you see the hate in that? I know the audience can't, but I know you can.
Imagine.
Were you always someone who paid attention to said politics and global events?
Well, actually, no. I never paid attention to it, but it definitely paid a lot of attention to me. In ways of me being a kid of 6, my siblings are all over the world. That being said, some live in the United States, some live here, some live in Slovakia. And because of that, you see how these different governments are all sort of affected by, I would say, the same thing. And our lives are very different because of how our governments are different. That doesn't make any sense. But so, for example, in the United States, right now, my older sister, she's currently studying in South Carolina, but she is a women's health activist and a nurse. In the US, in several states, abortion is banned. And sometimes she travels to the US to do her work, to do internships, and these other things. I have 3 younger sisters, and I think about things like this a lot. If something was to happen where they would need this form of healthcare, they could do it here. But if they were, well, I don't say unfortunate, because I do like the country sometimes, but if they were in the position where they were born in the US in a particular state, that probably wouldn't be possible. Well, it would be possible, but it would probably be illegal. I've noticed things like that for a really long time, especially when it comes to things like, for example, about my least favorite topic, I want to say social climate, things like social justice, these things. There's definitely that's had a huge impact in my life. My mom's in Italy. She particularly deals with women. So I've seen that grow up around women and with women. I think there's a difference. So I think as time went on, that sort of impacted how I see the world, especially through a political lens. And as time went on, things got more and more and more stupid. For example, in the US, Donald Trump was elected when I was still in secondary school. And now he's somehow the president again. Because, you just can't trust people to make the right decisions. So. And it feels, I don't like being a victim. I like doing things. I like trying to fix things. Or at least trying to put the right people in place who can fix those things.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to do is sit around, watch certain decisions get made, and act as if I don't have any power. But as long as you have a voice that works, you always have some sort of power. So that's kind of why I care about politics. Not for power, but to do some form of meaningful change.
It's inspirational.
Was
Thank you for letting me ramble for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's deep, real deep.
Because you brought up with women and with women, like you said, you feel like there's a difference. How is that difference shown up in you versus people you know who didn't grow up in and around women?
This is actually a really new thing for me. Because what you're asking me is how can I relate to a woman I don't really know? For example, one of my closest friends, he's a dude last I checked, and he also grew up like men as well. Most of my friends are female because I guess they've isolated more. But I think there are some key differences. One I would note is the things we care about. For example, you would often see people men in particular, when they want to talk about certain women's issues, they will always talk about it through the lens of women in their lives. Women, or my mom is this, my sister is that, or they're married, or they have a girlfriend, or whatnot. In contrast, these men who have no women in their lives because they're probably insufferable,
Right. Right.
These are the same people who, well, then again, that's not true because somehow insufferable men are always in relationships. So I'm not even gonna, I don't even gonna go there. But you always realize they don't have that kind of connection to women in your lives. I've realized I'm dependent on women socially, physically. I mean, I was raised by them socially because I grew up around them. I was friends with them. And yeah, I think that's mainly where I want to use the word respect, but it feels like it feels, the problem is I feel like many people feel they respect someone without, people think acknowledgement and respect is technically the same thing, but it's really not. But I would generally say a key difference would be how I see people's opinion, how I see women's opinion, and how I can more easily see it from their point of view because I grew up with and around them. I found through, I think about 6 years into dating now, other people, whenever they want to debate me about women's issues, because I'm clearly a woman, if for some reason they don't want to talk to me about it, I can see the lens in which they're arguing from. It's always this cold, logical lens because they have no other ground to debate from. That's what I find. God, you guys let me laugh a lot. I love that. That's really lovely. You know how nice it is to laugh?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I love it.
I do like how you describe that. I do think the insensitivity towards the nuance of being a woman or towards the nuance of certain things like abortion is what lacks in very specific legislation. So saying you can't have an abortion without understanding that abortion is also a means of genuine life-saving treatment in specific cases is very different than saying abortion is frowned upon, but it's still legal. And I think that that's probably the nuance we find ourselves in most countries in the world, especially the Western world, though, where it's like there is legislation being made and there is a democracy being actively upheld and actively held accountable, or at least we would hope it's being actively held accountable. But in this current climate, I'm not sure that every leader or every country and their actions is actually being held accountable. And I think it's because of what you said about that lack of nuance and understanding and just a cold logical sort of iron fist.
Well, see, when it comes to accountability and governments, you have to think about it this way. You can't hold someone accountable if you're part of that same system. If you're part of that same system. Look at I don't want to bring him up so soon, but look at Donald Trump, for example. Like, he is right now, well, then again, the midterms do matter, but he tried to coup the government, lie about it. After grabber by the pussy, he should have never been elected, but somehow he became president.
Twice.
Twice. Yeah.
Twice.
After trying to coup the government, by the way.
Exactly.
So the idea of accountability, because we look around and we see, okay, who's holding this man like accountable?
Nobody.
So I think the notion of accountability comes from a very, I would say, privileged place, because accountability sort of paints the image that what's happening is currently fair. And it's sort of not. You have Donald Trump saying things like, for example, we need to tone down the temperature on both sides, despite the fact that like right wingers are the ones killing anyone. Like both sides, but like meanwhile, like the past couple of people who've been shooting up the place have all been right wingers. Even in this country. Well, then again, in this country, I think it's more sinister because we're super quiet about it and pretend it's not happening, even though it's technically been happening a little longer. Like I think, when was it? 2016? Again, I was in Seoul when this started, because this is not like a new thing. The fire's just gotten bigger. Like in 2016, there was a politician. Her name was, I think I told you guys about her before. Her name was Jo Cox. I think she was a Labour MP. And some right-wing dude broke into her house and murdered her. She had stood up for refugees and women's rights, not just here, but abroad. And she got killed because of it. And what did we do? We talked about it for like a weekend and we don't say her name anymore. that should have been like the warning that, okay, we're not having this conversation enough. And now we're in the space we want to start talking about accountability. Like this shit gets already hit the fan. Like this shit all over the room, all over the walls, in people's mouths, like it's everywhere. And so, yeah, so it's a very difficult, it's really difficult to talk about accountability now. We're going to have in order to hold certain systems and people within those systems accountable, you're going to need to win so many legal battles and so much like political debate, because accountability, again, paints the picture of fairness. What's happening right now is fairness. We've lost that. Like it's gone. This is a shit show, I would say.
So, like, talking about accountability and from your perspective as a young person, do you think that young people today trust the institutions like the government, healthcare, international organizations like the UN?
No, definitely not. Young folks, I don't think trust institutions right now. And for good reason. Listen, I'm a bootlicker, okay? I think we should trust our institutions. I mean, if you care about minorities, if you care about women, children, pets, you should care about institutions, because the last thing you want is anarchy or anything close to anarchy. Because if you have, if you have anarchy, then who protects the people who need protecting the most? Who do you call when like the system has a collapse? The system that the system was made by them, but let's be honest, it still protects some people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the system collapses, when the most depraved people feel the urge to do whatever they want and have some form of anarchy, you know, who do you call on? That's why I find that like the call for revolution is like also a super privileged take as well. Because I don't think people know what revolution really looks like. I don't think people know what that looks like at all. Like, it's not this bloody, it fucks up your system like years. I'm allowed to swear.
No, go ahead. What they gonna do?
Because where it like screws up your system for like years after the revolution happens. So it's a difficult way for me to not answer your question, but yeah, that's where they're from.
Do you think, what do you think causes people to lose their faith? I know you ran into it a little bit or just now, but do you think there's one set thing, or do you think it's us, especially Gen Z, watching everything that's going on and on with, what is it, 2026 right now? We've seen 9/11, we've seen things like Ebola, we've seen the pandemic, we read about all the world wars, we entering into another world war. We've seen the Gaddafi incident. What do you think has?
I think it's several compounding things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's just one thing. And I think it started way before. I think all of this started way before the 9/11. I think it started way before that. I think we have grown used to being very powerless. I think we believe we're powerless because young people, as I've noticed, do not engage with politics. Young people don't engage with politics. And that's part of why we're powerless, because we have been made to believe we are. For example, I hate old people so much. Not actually. I love old people. Listen, my grandma's old. I love old people. I don't mean it like that. But look at Brexit, for example. That Brexit vote, that fucked up our country. Were overwhelmingly elderly people. They voted for that. They went and died. So they don't have to deal with this bullshit.
Right.
We have to deal with this bullshit. And look at the amount of people who are voting for, these right-wing parties. They're either young men, for some reason, or older people. And we understand that we have a voice and we have the ability to enact meaningful change by voting. But for some reason, we do not engage in politics. When I used to canvass a lot, especially for the Lib Dems, I would see other people canvassing for the conservatives at the time. It's always the same people you'd expect. That 56-year-old woman who got like nothing better to do with her life. It's always someone's grandma, and she's there every single council meeting. She's there every, she doesn't miss a single one. She's there for it. And then when she dies, a piece of her portion goes a piece of her pension, sorry, goes straight there. Like, she puts in work.
So there's something in there. I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you think that when they were younger, the old people were younger, do you think that they felt powerless, and then as they grew in age and maturity, they realized that politics, you have to be invested in it in some way, and now they are die hard?
Well, no, they definitely didn't feel powerless. I think they felt like they had some sort of ability to use their voice. And look at the Vietnam War, for example. People felt emboldened enough to protest that, to the point where somehow the war's ended, we're still protesting it now. So I think what's happened is we just, this is going to sound so bad, because I start off by saying we hate old people and now this, but these same old people who did what they had to do to get into power just haven't left yet. So it's not that they were once like us, where they felt eternally out of power and then they got into it. It's that they actually did it. They got into power. They enacted that meaningful change. They just don't want to get the fuck out. So like they're doing exactly what they set out to do all those years ago. And then us as younger generations, we're trying to come up and at least, do what younger generations should be doing, trying to take that torch. But they're grafting that torch to their body right now. They don't want to let it go.
Right.
And, look at all of those, countries right now who are posturing with war, and not a single one of the world leaders is under 70. And I do think 100% that is by design, because these people have assumed power, enacted the change that they thought was, that they saw fit, but don't see the point of handing down the torch. The US, for some reason, Nancy Pelosi didn't want to endorse AOC. I mean, I'm not the biggest AOC. I do like her, but I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not like head over heels doing backflips, but she should have at least, try to pass that torch on. Who does she nominate? Who not nominate? Who did she endorse instead? Some old dude whose name I don't even know. And it's been that way constantly. And that's part of why they've sort of held us back. But that doesn't mean that we have no power. We can, but we just need to engage with politics. We don't engage with politics. We stand around. We say we have no power. We blame capitalism like if, it's a person holding us back. We can do something. You can canvass. You can speak to people. You can actually read. You can try to enrich yourself with actual knowledge instead of like listening to sound bites on TikTok or something. Or you can actually do the very difficult task of sitting down and speaking to people who may not think like you. But right now we have a habit of, I would say, not listening to the other side, because we have this notion that if we listen to the other side, we are endorsing them. Now, of course, we don't want that Overton window to like widen to the point where we have like Nazis on the world stage. We don't want that. But at the same time, what we need to avoid is the creation of these echo chambers. And that's also another reason why we're kind of aimlessness.
Would you argue that right now we are in an echo chamber?
What do you say we? What do you mean?
Say we as multiple Western countries. So when I'm saying we, and I should have kind of been more specific, but if you can say that a majority of the world's leading countries, and I say leading in quotation marks, such as like, I don't necessarily agree with that, but the United States, the United Kingdom, major European countries, these Western people who enact change and are the ones who are seen as the driving forces of the world in terms of example or politics or legislation, etc. Would you say, based on kind of your description of most of the world leaders of today are all 70 plus, right? They're all holding on to the same narrative of, like you said, they did the work, they've gotten in, but they won't let it go. does that not create an echo chamber for where we are now? Or are we kind of in the beginning, kind of contractions of pregnancy pains of birthing an echo chamber that can't be stopped unless we start talking about it and engaging in politics at this point?
I think we are in an echo chamber. I think we have been in one for a while. I think it's an expanding echo chamber, which I know sounds like an oxymoron, but I think right now we are, for example, I love examples, okay? You can look at left-leaning people. I consider myself to be a left-leaning person. I'll call myself a liberal. And one thing you find is that on the left, we don't think we have these echo chambers, but we very much do. You have people online. God, I hate this dude as well. You have people online like Hassan Piker, and we have other people who are in the political sphere, like, let's say, people like, give me a left-leaning person, help me.
Where the UK, the US, or in general?
Just in general.
Left-leaning,
Particularly like a Democrat or something.
probably.
Okay, no, actually, look, people like Hassan Piker, or like any Democrat, these people, yes, they're both left, but they're not in the same camp.
Yes.
But people very much, for some reason, seem to think they are. Because people like, God, I don't want to say his name too much of my son. People like Hassan Piker are very illiberal people. And when many people who are, I guess, not liberal people who are outside, they look at that, people who are in their own echo chambers, their notion is that all these people are holding hands saying kumbaya, and they are not. Right. And so, yeah, I do think we're in an echo chamber. However, I think we're not as bad as whatever's happening on the right. That echo chamber is crazy because they just believe any old lie. They're so easy to lie to. Is because all they do is lie. But I think when it comes to people on the left, they are far more intellectually honest, which I think helps break those little echo chambers just a bit. Just enough for us to at least be able to enact meaningful change. But unlike people who are on the right, and I hate doing this us versus them thing, but it's quite literally us versus them at this point, because that's the system they set up. So yeah, I find that these people are becoming harder and harder and harder to reach because they have basically infected every form of culture. Where if you go to the gym, like somehow that's like a pipeline that's like an alt-right pipeline in itself. I love the gym. What do you mean? And if you go to something that's an alt-right pipeline, or if you play a sport, somehow there's an alt-right pipeline.
Yeah.
Like I'm in international school, somehow that's an alt-right pipeline as well. I was like, are you serious? It is, yeah. So it's media literacy. That's the problem. Media literacy is the problem. That's why we have these echo chambers, because people are incapable of seeing how they're propagandized by their own side, by the other side. People are incapable of reading for themselves. People are not incapable, but unwilling.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
So talking about media, do you think social media has improved or damaged political awareness?
Well, that is a tough one because I think social media has made us aware in some way. It's made us more aware than we've been throughout history. Now you can hear about, for example, we can all pick up our phones right now and see that shark died or something. You couldn't do that before. So it's definitely increased our awareness. But I think as time has gone on, we have to remember that these algorithms are typically on our side. We know that these algorithms are made just to make us pissed off all the time and to keep us watching, not to actually inform us, not to actually tell us the truth, but to tell us what we will find engaging. Could you guys keep in mind, humans are also like that as well. Humans don't really care about the truth completely. Humans care about what sounds the most, not what sounds the most plausible, because we don't even care about that. We care about what sounds the most threatening to us. We're not really we don't care about truth often. That's why people are willing to believe any lie, I found. So yeah, that's a keep with me to not answer your question directly, but I find that social media has increased our awareness.
Right.
And I think that's just it. I don't think social media is directly responsible for weakening or strengthening our awareness. I think that's an interpersonal thing because there's some people who use social media a lot. They have crazy screen time, Christ. But these are the most aware people on the planet.
Are you talking about me for a kind? Please.
Yeah, the most competent and just look at that. But there are other people who don't use social media a lot. That's always like my litmus test, by the way. People who like are these like anti-social media people and they have like the worst opinions because they know nothing. So it's a very difficult question. I haven't really thought about that long enough, but I've just found that it varies person to person. It's very hard to get like a general.
Right. So do you think that our generation is more politically informed or just more politically opinionated, more politically loud?
I think online is very different from offline, I found. So many people, I always tell people this, like if, you have the opinion that many young folks are becoming way more politically engaged, I always ask them, like, where did you see that? Like, how, like, show me your TikTok for you, please, right now. Whip it up. Let me see it. Because it's almost always online.
Right.
And it's, yeah, I don't think we're as politically engaged as we think we are. We're not. And the ones who are politically engaged are voting for the worst. Every time, my litmus test to see if someone's like right wing or reform or like an American Republican is when they say they're not interested in politics. I'm like, so if you were American, you would vote for Donald Trump, but fourth time, yeah, I know you would. So yeah, I think everyone is politically engaged in some way. I find the more politically engaged someone is, the more sound their political beliefs tend to be. Because stupidity thrives on ignorance. That's what I found at least. So, yeah, look at me not answering your question. You're not like that. I mean, I love that I cannot answer her question and she does nothing about it.
No, because in a way I do agree with you and I find I'm not looking for you to say our generation is, our generation is not. I do agree with you to an extent, and in some way I do feel like you have answered the questions that I've asked.
This podcast is brought to you by Kelomolo, where culture and class meet couture.
Do you want to talk about the differences in the justice systems around the world and what concerns you today?
Justice systems. For context, I am not an attorney. And I hate law. I didn't study it. My mom took all the law genes. I hate law. What's passion? The only justice system that I think of right now that is probably on my radar is the current debate happening in the Caribbean right now, where my mom is from actually, between the Privy Council and the CCJ. I'm like pro Privy Council. Yeah, common colonized, okay? I'll wear that badge. Right? But I find that this is just another example of how uninformed people tend to be. For example, whenever you hear people talk about the pros or the cons of the CCJ, it's always something that's just not true.
Imageless is and what the acronyms mean. So that somebody's just thinking and don't know what that is.
Okay, so one distinction is that many people have the concept that the CCJ is all Caribbean people who are, as super Caribbean, okay? And they care specifically about Caribbean issues, which is true. They think the exact opposite of the Privy Council. They think the Privy Council is like a bunch of old white men with like wigs who have no respect for the Caribbean. That's just not true. Many people who sit on the Privy Council are
Court of Justice.
Yeah, they are from the Caribbean. But we have this like weird mindset that is the inverse. We also have this mindset that the Privy Council cannot support Caribbean people the way the CCJ can. Right. We see that to be the exact opposite. I mean, right now on TikTok, there's a very popular story going around. I think it's about this girl that went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And like
she went with her friend and then they tried to
I shouldn't laugh.
smuggle
I shouldn't laugh at it.
some drugs via shoes from Jamaica to the UK.
Yeah.
And the girl's pregnant, so God bless her. But she's being held in Jamaica and her family is trying to basically prove that she's innocent. Like she didn't know that those shoes had drugs in them.
Do you know how quickly that would be solved if like you, if they like went to the Privy Council? You know how quickly that would be solved. But instead, everyone wants to use that one example from that lady in Trinidad, and it's like that's like one example. Like, please, guys, come on, we need to think here. We need to look at things, not just for. We need to look at things for what they actually are, not just what we think we are, not just what we think politicians tell us. Not just what politicians tell us. But that's as far as my opinion goes on that. I hope that girl is fine. I hope she's okay. Her and her baby.
Yeah.
By the way, how did she get pregnant? When did she? I don't think get pregnant. Don't worry.
Are you sure you want to give me a quick bio lesson? No. Okay.
Where did she get the time to do that?
Then she was not on holiday, no. So she went with her friend. Her friend met with her boyfriend. They had a great time. So she was single at that time. Then she tried to reach Jamaica with the shoes. And they caught her, blah, 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 blah. She was held in custody for a bit. During her trial period, she was let out, but she had to stay in Jamaica. And she found a young man who wanted to find her. And then they had some fun. Last I heard, she was pregnant. I don't know if she probably gave birth or not, but last I heard, she was pregnant. And yeah.
See what? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Interesting. I think she might be facing 6 years. I think she's around our age. Maybe I don't want to give the wrong age. But either 22, 23, and she's looking to 6 or so years.
Well, we will fact check it. Come on.
We're keeping that in the podcast. So.
No, if they fact check it, it's loud. It's fine.
We at the desk, I can go in some spots.
Yeah, no, some less information.
Let me speak for me, because Leah's just considering it. I at the desk do not condone such actions. I am a trooper.
Guys, please. I just like to live in other people's delusions. I did not say I condoned said delusion.
You did not say you did not condone.
Yeah.
I condone it. No worries.
So back contract gigs. Do you think institutions today are adapting fast enough to modern changes?
Well, no, because those same old people are still in power.
And you look at grandchildren who might be in the air saying, "Papa, don't do that."
Well, that's definitely the case for the United States. I don't think you got that victim idea from himself.
Right.
Yeah, so that's definitely the case. But you got to keep in mind, it's their grandchildren. Probably thinks a lot like them as well. And this is where I hate. There's a lot of things I hate. Okay, I hate this word a lot. The whole relatability aspect. Many people I found, because I find things a lot. I find that we tend to look at other groups and we think, my views are different from my grandma or my grandmother's views. I'm probably more like left-leaning or liberal than my grandparents. And we look at these people and we think, oh, that was probably the same for them. It is not. It is 100% not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these people are just like a carbon copy of each other. And I know it sucks to say that and hear that, but it is. And
yeah.
It's the echo chamber that you can't expect somebody in the same system, like you said, to come and change it. When you've lived in the system, you've benefited from the system, you are more or less a product of the system. When it takes somebody else coming in, but then those are that's the requirement.
At that point, you're not even a product of the system. You honor the system. You live with his skin.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like it. You're this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it here. What role do you think educated professionals like doctors play in advocating for social justice?
I think of them.
What role do you think they play?
I would just say science communication. I think one place science has failed is the communication aspect. I've realized we've sort of failed to mediate the discourse happening right now. If you wanted to learn how to fly a plane, I'm not going to say, hey, you see that building over there? Like 100,000 people in that building, and they're all disagreeing. They're throwing shit, screaming, someone's on fire. You got to go in there and find the right person to ask you how to build that, how to fly out it. And they're all going to tell you their own personal way of how to fly play. You're probably going to come out, either you're going to become one of them, yelling at the next person who wants to come into another fly plane, or you're just going to come out feeling unmotivated and you're going to lose it. Right? I wouldn't do that. I would say, hey, you see those people over there? They're pilots. Go to those people. That's what society looks like right now. And that's what it's been like for a while. We haven't had actual science communicators doing the communicating. And if they are, I realize they've been drowned out by the loud noise of the internet. I think that's one of the failings of social media. It's the inability to mediate actual proper discourse. Look at the whole vaccine thing. It doesn't matter how many degrees someone had on, the wall of their office. It doesn't matter, how thick and heavy their glasses are. It doesn't matter how smart or Jewish they look. No one believed like a single thing because you have people like, no, I'm allowed to diss her. Fuck it, I mean, people like Nicki Minaj talking about her cousin's testicles. I don't know if you remember that.
Was I asleep?
What?
Was I asleep when this happened?
No, do the pandemic. Nicki Minaj was talking about her cousins from Trinidad.
Among many other things, but yes.
You know what?
Is that the wrong person?
I don't know. No, I
I'm
don't.
not sure.
I don't.
Wasn't it Nicki Minaj? We have the internet. Go back, fact check me. No, Nicki Minaj. She was like, my cousin from Trinidad took the vaccine and now his balls are big.
Right. Okay.
She said something like,
Sorry.
do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened. We have like that kind of, that's the narrative we have like spinning around. We have people who are just screaming this endlessly into the void. We have, like, look at how many people died just because they didn't want to take the vaccine because, they're about to like inject horse dewormer or something. The president of the United States once told people to, hey, maybe you should try injecting bleach. And that sounded more sound than people said, hey, maybe wear a mask.
Yeah.
And stay inside.
Hey, wash your hands.
Right.
That medical professional saying that was too much, but injecting horse dewormer, that was quick. Remember when people were like sticking spoons on themselves? Seeing if they became magnetic after that. As a science communicator, how that felt. I've never been like that low. I've like, wow.
The pandemic was fun. It was
interesting.
Yeah,
It was
very.
What a time to be alive. Unironically, because a lot of people, aren't now.
Oh, okay. Anyways.
You should have had the Brexit vote again after the pandemic, and we would have gone back to the EU. Like all those,
I'm waiting for it.
all those older people who voted for Brexit, or the same people who didn't get vaccinated, and they're all gone now. Oh, you could pour one out for them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it here. This is so much fun, guys. Now, I know you talked about this earlier, but I'm going to phrase it as a question for you. Do you think progress is actually happening globally? Or does it feel like it's crisis after crisis?
I think progress is happening. It's just happening. Yeah, progress is definitely happening. Not as fast as it should, but I don't think it needs to be. When you look around at certain countries, they are making ground. You can look here, even though I don't like them, the Green Party here is like making a lot of ground. So are the Lib Dems as well. Conservatives, Labour, which is just Conservative 2.0, because so many Conservative members went over to Labour, but they're sort of dropping. You can look at what happened. The massive Liberal win, or left-wing win in, not massive, but the coalition win in France some time ago. The upcoming midterms in the US, this probably leads to the president getting impeached.
Well,
Again?
hopefully this time it sticks.
I don't think it matters at this point. I think the third time you impeach someone, it's like, okay, this obviously doesn't work.
It's a badge of honor.
But truthfully, the first time you impeach somebody, it should be like, okay.
That's his badge.
It's like when we say aspiring able to try to spray it with hairspray. It's not that. It's making you look pretty. That's it. At this point. Yeah. So things are moving, but I think many people don't see it. And that's also a factor that's demotivating a lot of people. People don't know how to look for those changes that's happening. And because we don't know how to look for it, we think it's not happening. And, you have people, God, I don't know. Wow, I'm so full of hate. Christ. You have people like, I don't want to name drop anyone on your podcast in case your birthday. There's this like online creator. I don't want to say things he does too because people don't know exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
But this online creator who's just, in my opinion, one of the worst. All he does is scaremonger and it's things like that that make you think, oh, like everything is like going to shit and nothing's happening. People like him. I'll tell you his name after, okay? I can't make him out yet. No,
Okay.
I can't be bad. I don't want to say his name on your birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's
yeah, the daily screen. Stupid.
you have any more questions?
For you as a medical communicator, or science communicator, sorry. And I guess the question I would have for you is how studying medicine, specifically neuroscience, because a lot of that has to do with how you're taking information and just how we as humans interact with each other more loosely. But it has something to do with just how we would function in these situations. How has being a medical professional actually impacted how you take any politics and how you advocate for our generation who isn't as interested in taking in politics?
You have to know when to meet people where they are. And that's one thing I've learned the hard way. When it comes to communicating with people from a medical standpoint, meeting people where they are seems pretty appropriate. Because now you can say, okay, I can understand your place of ignorance. I can understand your not knowing. When it comes to other political areas now, meeting people where they are is never a good idea. Always felt. Yeah, some people, sometimes you don't want to meet certain people where they are. Yeah, I don't want to meet there's certain types of people. That's why I said individual, person to person, interpersonal. I think that's super important because it adds up. But for example, I don't want to meet someone like Nick Fuentes where he's at.
Right.
The Christian nationalist. I don't want to meet him where he's at. He can stay over there. That's fine. If someone more big up and just kill each other, then that's fine. But there's certain people who are reachable. For example, that one person who is worried that no one in her town looks like her anymore. Or she thinks that not enough money is being given to her and her family. She's like a single mom and she's seeing money go elsewhere that she's not seeing it there. You can beat those people where they're at. You can bring them over so easily. It's the easiest. I've brought so many of them over. But it's just knowing.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Oh, God, it's just knowing when to use that strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not worth convincing.
Right.
Some people you just don't bother convincing. That's why we have democracy, and because we have that, we just get each other. Which might actually happen in your country. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a great time.
We have a chance.
Can I ask just one last question? So you just seem like such a great guy, very intelligent.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and right.
If you see me when I have most things.
Right. See, and that's where I was going. What keeps you up at night? What issues, political, they might.
Will be seen to become a therapy session.
I don't want to. Yeah, let's say something.
I'm no longer kept up by most political things. I'm not kept up by it anymore because it doesn't worry me as much because I do think we're heading in an okay direction. We're playing right now. We know it's going to land, but there's a lot of turbulence and there's lightning outside. It's bad. There's a fighter jet coming in behind us. It's like flying over Baghdad. It's not looking good.
Right.
The Air Force right there. It's okay. I think we're going to be okay. It's a very rocky ride. Many people, again, it's just we're online a lot and we're looking at shit explode. We're looking at people explode. We're looking at ethnic groups getting wiped away. We're looking at people explode again. We're seeing, people in power touch kids a lot. We're seeing all of that and you think, damn, you see one country fighting the other country fighting itself for some reason. And then the other country who's also fighting itself, fighting like everyone else. And everybody's got hands and they're all throwing it. and we have decided that it was ending. World War III is coming. It's not. I don't think World War III is coming. I mean, it looks like it online, but I think we're pretty far from it. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But what worries me, I think it just comes down to generationally our ability to decipher information, our levels of discernment, our motivation. Because for some reason we think we're the most powerless people on the planet, despite the fact there's so many of us. These things, that's the only thing that worries me. Because we're heading down the right road. The thing is, we don't want people turning the car around for no reason. Like all the kids in the backseat are quiet and well behaved, and for some reason, like mom's turning the car around, sitting heading back home. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Being liberal of like, look around, like people are acting the world's ending. Like, no, guys, just keep doing the job and you'll be okay. But yes, you just can't use motivation. That's about it. I also live next to a train station. That keeps me up at night.
First episode. We appreciate you.
Thanks for letting me ramble for like, what, 2 hours? God. It's music.
We're so happy we're here.
We love to thank you for your insight. It was very great, very fun to listen to you ramble. Even though we didn't think you were. It's very nice. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
We love you.
So, like, you guys have like goodie bags or?
No.
So I did this for free?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Give you a hug.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. No. Yeah, we got something for you. Don't worry about it. Until next time, guys. Pull up a chair to the desk. Bye.